The afternoon heat pressed down on the roadside like a heavy blanket as the old woman's hands began to tremble. Mira Rao stirred a pot of thin lentils over a stove held together by wire and stubborn hope. The dust clung to her faded sari. Traffic rushed past her tiny tin and wood stall without slowing, engines roaring, lives moving on. The world had long forgotten her name. But kindness had not. Just a few steps away stood three boys. They couldn't have been more than 10 years old. Thin, barefoot, clothes hanging loosely from their frames. They pretended to watch the road, but their eyes never left the pot. Hunger made them restless. Fear made them quiet. Mira knew that look. She had worn it herself for years. Once, she had lived a full life. A husband who drove a city bus. A small home filled with evening laughter and shared meals. Then life did what it so often does. It took, piece by piece. Her husband passed suddenly. Her children moved away in search of work and never returned. The house was lost to debts she never fully understood. All that remained was this stall, this stove, and a heart that refused to turn hard. Every morning before sunrise, Mira woke with aching knees, washed her face with cold water, and began cooking. She counted lentils like coins, measured flour carefully, prayed each day would bring just enough customers so she could eat something herself by night. Some days were kind, most were not. That day was one of the worst. She glanced at the boys again and felt her stomach tighten. She knew exactly how much food she had left. She knew giving any away meant she might sleep hungry. And the world would not punish her for turning them away. It never punished anyone for cruelty. Still, something inside her ached more than hunger. Slowly, Mira filled 3 chipped bowls with lentils. She tore flatbreads in half and placed the food on the edge of her stall. The boys froze. Then, cautiously, they stepped forward and ate. Quickly, silently, as if afraid the moment might vanish. Mira turned away, pretending to clean, though every swallow they took eased something deep inside her chest. When they finished, she pressed a small bundle of leftover bread into their hands and gently waved them on. They didn't say thank you. Hunger doesn't always allow manners. But before leaving, all 3 turned back and looked at her, really looked, as if trying to memorize her face. Days passed, then weeks. The boys returned whenever they could. Sometimes Mira fed them. Sometimes she couldn't. On those days she gave them water and a place to sit, shielding them from the sun with her own thin body. She learned they had no parents, no home, only each other. She never asked how they survived. Some truths are too heavy for old hearts. Then one day, they stopped coming. Mira waited. She saved scraps just in case. Weeks turned into months. The city changed around her. New shops opened. Old ones closed. Her back bent further. Her hands shook more. Some nights, she whispered prayers into the dark, wondering if the boys were alive. Years passed. And then, one afternoon, everything changed. A sound echoed down the road, low, powerful, completely out of place. Then another. And another. 3 luxury cars rolled into view, gleaming under the dusty sun like something from another world. They slowed, stopped, right in front of Mira's stall. People gathered. Phones rose, whispers spread. The doors opened, and 3 young men stepped out. Well-dressed, confident, successful, and then they looked at her. Mira's hands began to shake. One of the men gently steadied them. Another brushed dust from her counter. The third met her eyes, his shining with unshed tears, and suddenly, she knew. The boys she had fed with trembling hands stood before her as men who had conquered the world. They had not forgotten. Years earlier, they had been taken in by a charitable organization. Given education, shelter, a chance. They worked relentlessly, supporting one another, building something remarkable together. But no success erased the memory of an old woman who fed them when she had nothing. They searched for her for years. And now they had found her. The crowd watched in silence as the men knelt, not for attention, but because gratitude has weight. Mira wept openly. That day they didn't give her money and leave. They stayed. They listened. They rebuilt her stall into a proper shop. They made her part of their lives. She was no longer invisible. She was family. And the greatest gift wasn't comfort, it was knowing her kindness had mattered. Because kindness, when given freely, never disappears. It only waits.